Welcome back to another episode of Raising the Bar, TKJ Podcast. In this episode, we hear from Miriam Ortiz y Pino. In 2001, she founded More Than Organized to create freedom in her life. She's a simplicity expert, a money breakthrough business coach, and one of the world's first certified professional organizers. She's an entrepreneur, a blogger, a TV show host, and the creator of the Streamlined solution. She works with entrepreneurs and creative people to craft internal and external environments that connect you with the control you crave and the freedom you desire while building wealth through organization. Plan your steps and take flight. TKJE, Raising the Bar. Welcome back to another episode of Raising the Bar, TKJ Podcast. In this episode, we hear from Miriam Ortiz y Pino, a certified professional organizer. Really awesome. So, Miriam, nice to see you. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time and, doing this interview. I'm excited to hear about what an organizer, what you do, and really how you help people and their businesses. So when it comes to your business, what inspired you to get started with this business in this field?
Yeah, so I was always a very busy kid and needed time to do all the things I wanted to do and make it easier. And my family was not that organized. And so I was the person in the family that helped everybody get out the door on time and turned into a systems nerd. My mom had no problem setting up a system. She had a hard time maintaining a system. So I would tweak it until it was easy for everyone to use. And that's kind of how I got started with organizing. But I took it to all the jobs I ever had, which were considerable. And then I realized I wasn't really good for working for someone else. I knew too much. I really needed to do my own thing and be able to create my own situation. And what better way to do that than to share the thing that I'm really good and passionate about, which is helping people make their lives and their work easier.
Okay, so when it comes to different types of habits, especially around money, what is one thing or one key habit that you use to run a profitable business, and how do you use that to help other people?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person. I actually use a modality called Sacred Money Archetypes that helps people understand their relationship with money. And it's fantastic because it helps you recognize your patterns with other things in your life too. It's your relationships, your clutter, your stuff, your way of approaching the world can all be found in this modality. But basically, it comes down to don't be afraid to look at your money and make decisions that are right for you. There is no one size fits all, but the number one mistake I see people make is not looking at it and being afraid of it. Both ends. Like none of it matters how much money you have. It has to do with how you perceive money and its role in your life or your work. So there's a lot of businesses out there that hold on tight and don't want to pay taxes and do everything they can to avoid paying taxes. Instead of thinking of taxes were never yours in the first place, it's a pass through. It's what allows you to do business in your community. And so that can be a thing to look at. I think also a lot of people just don't know about money. And so when they start a business, they're like, well, I don't have enough money for a bookkeeper, but it's a big mistake to not know what you're really doing. I recently had a client who realized in year 3 of her business that she had been doing all of her taxes wrong because she had been trying to do it herself. And someone mentioned something, it might have been me. And she was like, wait, what? I have to pay taxes about that? Or I don't have to, I can't remember what it was, or I don't have to pay taxes on that. It was one or the other. I can't remember if she was overpaying or underpaying, but it was like this whole enlightened thing of that's not what I was told online somewhere. And I'm like, I'm not an accountant. You should double check. And she double checked and she had totally been doing it wrong and misunderstanding what her business entity was allowed to do with certain monies. And I think it's a big mistake to not consult experts when you don't know a thing or when you're first learning a thing.
Absolutely. If you're paying taxes, you're making money.
Right.
one way to look at it. So when it comes to things that get in the way of people making money,
Mhm.
what usually gets in the way of people being more productive, staying organized, and making more money, and increasing their revenue flow?
Yeah, I think it all comes down to systems again, in combination with marketing. So, your marketing systems, stop recreating the wheel, stop not spending money on advertising if you need more clients. Start getting things together so you have uh, assets that could be your messaging, could be your copy, could be your social media graphics, your branding. Get those in order so you can then mix them into the recipe. I think of it as my marketing pantry, and then I'm going to make a recipe for that launch or for that sale, and I need the things to tell the people about it. And if you have those things in order and easily accessible and consistent, it's so much easier to use. The same thing applies to just follow up with your people. How many calls do you have to make? What email do you have to send? All those things can be semi automated. And I say that because a lot of people over automate and then they're not building actual relationships with their clients and customers. So by all means, information and for your information and sales and product feature or special features, all that, yeah, automate that. But when you're trying to actually build a relationship and get referrals and things like that, it's got to be on that personal level. So automate the time frames, little calendar reminders that say, hey, call back the people from this event, or make sure you follow up on that coffee thing, versus sending them generic stuff that's like, hey, just checking in. Hey, just checking in. I get like 10 of those a week. And it's like, checking in about what? And who are you? And why? You got to start making it personal and develop the relationship.
It sounds like, and I let people know this as well, you're going to have to get out and go do. Yes,
Yes.
I get the automation and how it
Mhm.
works, but business usually boils down to you getting up and going out and doing, right? Money generating activities on a consistent basis. So a lot of different tricks can be done. Is there
Mhm.
a trick to staying motivated during the organizing process or other big projects that you've helped people with so they stay on track?
Yeah, it comes down to knowing what your desired outcome is. Why did you start your business? It's that Simon Sinek. Why are you in business? What is the problem you're solving? And what is the problem you're solving with trying to get organized right now? Setting up your systems is to prevent what or to facilitate what. So it's that combination of the why you're doing it with the what you have to do to get to that place. Decluttering on a day you're pissed off, you might let go of some stuff you needed. Opposite, holding on to too many things might be because you're not really in the mood to do it, because it's just it feels like busy work. But it's less busy work when it's less busy work than over automating, and it's less busy work than working on the wrong things. So if you think of decluttering, especially when we're talking about businesses and setting up systems, it's all about what's going to help you facilitate your work and doing your best work the easiest way possible so you can do less of it. All kinds of people have read the 4 Hour Work Week. I want to be like Tim Ferriss and not work. Well, that's great, but you forgot the part in the introduction when he talks about the 4 years it took him to set that stuff up. It's to get to that end point of where it can be a little more self-sustaining and easy to run, and you get to do the strategy and stuff like that on the other side. But you can't delegate or scale without having systems in place that you can train people on and they can use to do the work you're handing off. Otherwise, they're just going to do the wrong stuff or do their version of what you want, and it never goes well. I speak from experience on that one.
I understand. I'm so with you. It goes along lines of you got to live through it, you got to learn through it.
Mhm.
So when it comes to, what you've learned through the time you've been in business, can you give us one thing that you've learned as a business owner that isn't taught in school?
All kinds of things. When you go to school, especially if you go to school for business, they teach you how to run a corporation, how to be a middle manager in a corporation. They don't teach you the resilience you need. They don't teach you the creativity you may need to have. And most people that go out on their own are kind of bucking the corporate thing, and they don't make the connection that just because it's not corporate doesn't mean you have to have the basic framework of a business in place. That's why I came up with my 5 essential business systems, because it allows you to look at the different aspects of any business and then just implement things as needed for your situation. But I think that difference between how you grow a business into something big like a corporation, or keep it small but sustainable because you want to simplify your life and have great money and fun while doing it, that part isn't as important as making that connection that it's still a business and you got to pay attention to the moving parts of it.
I find that a lot of people miss that as well, is that, I know you don't want to go work for someone. Totally understand it, right? Been there.
Mhm.
But what you're about to, embark on is that you are going to have to be held accountable, and the only person that's going to hold you accountable is you. So
Right.
sometimes people, they don't make good business owners, or I should say, they don't make good accountability partners for themselves because it's something that we just
Mhm.
don't want to do. You
Yeah.
mentioned a lot of things that you help people with and how you can help them create systems. So
Mhm.
overall, why do people hire you, and where can people find you, and any kind of resources that you may have to
Mhm.
assist them as they're, going on their journey?
Most people hire me because they have a problem with paper or computer files that they're overwhelmed with. Sometimes it's all the stuff that's in their way as well, but it's all clutter. All those things are clutter. Anything that's in your way and hindering your progress towards your desired outcome is clutter. So mostly it's when someone gets overwhelmed or super frustrated, or they were late with something one too many times, that they call and finally realize, oh, I've got, I don't actually know what I'm doing in this arena. I could use some support. So that's the first thing. And I think that that's often too late. I'm just going to put it out there. Like, I can totally help you catch up. But wouldn't it have been better if we kind of thought about it and built it into the system in the first place, or built it into your plan in the first place? So the, as soon as you feel you're able to hire a professional organizer to help you look at that kind of stuff, create your frameworks and that kind of thing, the better. In terms of where people can find out more and get into some resources, morethanorganized.net is my website. It has all the stuff on there, including free resources like the 5 essential business systems masterclass that's free. You can take that anytime you want. It's an on-demand webinar. And the 1 minute mail solution, which is actually both about electronic and paper physical files and how to deal with the inundation of information we get every day as business owners and as people.
So morethanorganized.net.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Miriam, thank you so much, again, for taking the time doing this interview. We definitely learned a lot. All you that are listening, you want to look her up, you want to get organized, you want the right systems put in place. Miriam is the person for you. You can find her again at morethanorganized.net. Miriam, again, thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Ken. Glad to be here.